I can't believe it. It finally happened. We finally have the perfect video game adaptation. We are now a few episodes into The Last of Us show, and I feel confident in saying this. I came out with a video talking about how writers are ignoring the lore to the adaptations they are creating from video games and books, like Halo and The Witcher. I did mention a few things about The Last of Us, but I didn't really say much or cast any judgment because I wanted to see how the show would perform when the episodes started coming out. And so far, I have loved the show. The show has stayed true to the characters and the story, and this isn't going to be a full breakdown on the whole show so far, but I will be mentioning a few things, so just a little spoiler warning for those that haven't watched yet or are still catching up. But before I dive into my thoughts on the show, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for coming to the channel and engaging. Everything has been on the up, the views, subscriptions, comments, everything has been increasing and I'm loving it. The discussion, the dialogue in the comments sections. That's really been my goal for this channel, is to just create a community to where we can all enjoy and talk about our interests. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok as well at analyzethis_YT. The TikTok has been taking off recently because of my most recent post on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in the DMZ mode. If you want to get entertained, go grab some popcorn and go read that comment section because it has been poppin'. It's been very interesting. Also, quickly just want to say, check out my community tab on the channel as well. You'll see a podcast that I am doing with a couple of other buddies of mine that are getting into the YouTube race as well. We have a couple episodes out there on The Last of Us, one about Season 1 of Modern Warfare 2. We're planning more Last of Us coverage, and also another Modern Warfare video should be coming out in a few weeks once Season 2 arrives. So just something we're having fun with, and of course, go check out their channels too, The Cosmic Cowboy and Preheated Panda. You'll find all the links in the description down below in the podcast videos. So check that stuff out. Again, thank you to everyone that's been coming through to the channel. Be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and stay tuned for more then. But let's get back to The Last of Us. My favorite part of the show right now is the acting. These actors have serious chemistry. It is impressive because not only are these the first few episodes of the show in general, but also part of the story is for these people to not know each other or to really give a crap about one another at the start. Back when the cast was announced, it was received with a lot of backlash from people, and I really don't know why anyone would complain about Pedro Pascal being casted as Joel. He has a pretty good track record with his roles in serious shows. However, most of the criticism was received by Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie. It was unbelievable to see how many people got mad at this 19-year-old actress who got casted for probably one of the biggest roles of her lifetime. Clearly, these people did not watch Game of Thrones. She played the role of Lyanna Mormont in the later seasons, and despite only appearing a few times, she had one of the greatest scenes in the highly controversial final season. Oh, and Pedro Pascal was in Game of Thrones as well. He played Oberyn Martell. The acting from Pedro and Bella has been fantastic so far, and you would have thought they've been working together before. I don't think their paths crossed in Game of Thrones since they were on at different times, but you could definitely tell they were in Game of Thrones because their work has been high quality and top notch so far. And after a few episodes, we are now seeing the growth in the relationship between Joel and Ellie, and they have gone from arguing and making sarcastic remarks to one another to finally growing a bond and showing signs of mutual respect towards one another. So far, it would appear that episode 3 is the most popular. Why? Well, because of more outstanding acting. Nick Offerman, who played Bill, and Murray Bartlett, who played Frank, were fantastic. Their chemistry was top-notch as well. And the writers deserve a load of credit too. The writing and the dialogue, in my opinion, has been near perfect. But I have to give HBO a ton of credit as well because they made hires to stay true to the story by hiring Neil Druckmann to write and direct the show, and he's one of the creators of the game. And right now he's the co-president of Naughty Dog and has played a huge role, like I said, in the creation of both The Last of Us and also the Uncharted series. So this guy has totally deserved the opportunity to take his writing and directing skills to TV. Now the pacing of the show has been slow, but in my opinion, in a good way, because this has allowed Druckmann and his team to flesh out more characters, more details and elements on the story, things that maybe we didn't get from the game. Because think about it, despite a few games out there, how many games really give you cutscenes like you feel like you're watching a movie where the cutscenes go for 3 to 5 minutes, maybe even longer? Not too many. The Last of Us maybe had a few of those moments, but of course, when you're on a time constraint or on a budget, you have to pick and choose. And I think it's really cool that the writers have added scenes that give more context in the fungal mutation that has started this whole apocalypse. After the first 2 episodes, I began to see criticism from people claiming the show just felt like replaying the game. I totally disagree with that statement because 1, they changed some of the things, I'll touch more on that in a moment, and 2, they added more context to the start of the whole issue. Like I said, we learned from the scientist at the very beginning of the show on that talk show about how fungus can be dangerous and spread and be deadly. And then you have the lady in Indonesia who tells us that there's no cure and that the military needs to bomb the city immediately. Like, no hope from the get-go? Holy cow. Like, these are important moments for the story and the context of everything that's happening in this world and in this setting. And in the game, you deal with a cranky Bill, and you also find a letter from Frank that is intended for Bill. Frank and Bill ended up having a falling out, and that led to Frank basically saying in the letter that he hated Bill's guts. Now, this show took it in a much better direction, adding a lot of heart and soul to these characters and their relationship. We see them form their relationship and survive together in this shitty world. The episode is filled with so much emotion, especially at the end when Frank decided to end his life due to suffering from a debilitating illness. They both decided to go out together, and the note Bill leaves for Joel at the end of the episode is huge. That letter was basically telling Joel to take care of those in need. That's why people like Joel and Bill were the ones left in this shitty world as survivors. And at this exact moment is when Joel realizes that he needs to take care of Ellie and complete this mission. And then all of a sudden you see the relationship between him and Ellie grow, and it improves drastically. Again, this is good writing. I am so jealous of all the people that get to experience this story for the first time. Those people are entering a story that is filled with great moments, intensity, just something great that I feel like everybody should watch as this franchise continues to grow from just video games to now a show. And honestly, I recommend this show to anyone, whether you've played the games or not. It's a great story that differs just enough from the game to bring in some new elements and add more perspective to characters and anything that's already been established in the story. And I recommend this show for 3 reasons, and I've already talked about 2 of them. The acting and the writing, huge parts right there. And the third is just how original this show is in the post-apocalyptic drama genre. This isn't just another zombies eat people and they turn into rotting flesh dead people. The whole idea of the mutated strain of cordyceps is really cool. That fungus grows and expands inside the bodies of the infected. The fungus also spreads through flour and other crops. It's not just getting spread by people getting bit by flesh-eating infected people. Now, I was worried when the writers announced that the spores would not be in the show. Back in the game, you had to wear a mask when entering locations that were filled with spores in the air. The spores were replaced with tendrils that look like plant vines. And they are really cool because they're like a network that once stepped on, it will notify all surrounding infected that, hey, there's living people here, go eat them, go infect them. It also provides a nice visual aesthetic to the world as well. It's not just overgrown bushes and grass and weeds all over the place. You have these tendrils just wrapping themselves around buildings and cars and light poles and all over the ground. So it's super dangerous you can't even feel safe about walking down the street or down the sidewalk because you have to look out for these tendrils. So I personally think it would have been cool to keep the spores in. I think you could have had both the tendrils and the spores. They could have had some intense scenes with those spores where everyone had to put their masks on and slowly get through an infected area, avoiding inhaling the spores and also the clickers and things like that as well. Even the uncomfortable scene of the infected person kissing Tess, in my opinion, was unique. Yeah, it was uncomfortable, but it was different. We were so accustomed to seeing bloody scenes where zombies would rip people to shreds. And in this show, things are a bit different. Some people hate that Tess kiss because they think it was super awkward and uncomfortable. But hey, aren't all death scenes supposed to be awkward, uncomfortable, and cringy? Especially in a show like this? So yeah, I am a fan of the show so far and I'm excited to see what comes next. If you have not played the games, then do everything you can to avoid spoilers. Also, if you have not watched it yet, give it a chance. Like I said, there's quality acting, writing, and enough differences between the game and the genre in general that are going to keep you entertained and wanting more. So thanks for checking out the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and TikTok as well at analyzeth_YT. Take care, everybody, and see you on the next video.